Beep! What is up, ninjas? My name is Sam World, and I love making music production and sound design videos for dance music here on YouTube. This is my 6-inch mic, Steve.
Hello.
Now, to start off the video, I have a question for you. What example sounds better to you? Example A or example B? That's a workout. Now, make sure to leave down the comment below which one you thought sounded a lot better to your ears. Again, there is no right or wrong answer, but if you pick example B, then you're pretty much deaf, I feel like. Now, if you thought both examples were the same, then that's totally fine as well, guys. Again, it's all jokes. But in today's video, we're going to discuss why example A is going to sound a lot better and something that you should be doing with your drum loops, because if you're not, then your drum loops are probably sounding messy. Now, before we get this video started, I have to beg for a bit of money. So if you want to support my sound banks, which are used by some of the top DJs in the world, and again, I don't pay for testimonials, make sure to head over to evilsounds.com where you can find all of my sound design work. With that being said, let's get started with this video. So what was the difference between example A and example B? Example A pretty much just had all of the drum loops quantized, and then there was a swing applied to them that was created utilizing the bass line of the track, which leads to the drum loops all having a signified swing groove to them, rather than having example B, where pretty much all of the drum loops were allowed to have their existing swing. Now, my full-time job is being a sound designer for you guys. When I'm making the drum loops, I'm never really thinking about having all the drum loops have the same swing. Instead, I'm thinking about how can I make this one drum loop sound good. I think it's safe to say that a lot of sound designers out there are also going to be thinking in the same way. How can I make this drum loop sound good for the person utilizing it? Now, the problem arises when you start utilizing different drum loops from different companies, as you're gonna have pretty much drum loops stacking on top of each other, and if some of them don't have the same swing, this can lead to issues. Now, in this track, pretty much Soul kind of commented how Viper sent him a couple of drum loops and they just weren't syncing up, and I'm gonna give you guys an example here. So here we're gonna have this tambourine loop, and if we kind of go and dive further deep in, you're gonna start to notice that this tambourine loop isn't exactly landing on the grid with this offbeat tambourine, and it's going to sound like this. Now, the problem is the fact that when you utilize a lot of different drum loops from different packs, a lot of times you might have certain drums that are going to be stacking on top of each other. And the problem is going to be that each one is probably going to have its own swing, its own timing, assuming that the sound designers have applied a bit of swing, of course. And this might lead to issues. For example, above that, we're going to have another hi-hat loop. Now, this one's going to be landing exactly on the grid, as you can see here, but at the same time, it's going to be playing with a tambourine. So we can safely say that both of these sounds are going to act as layers, even though the producer never thought that they should be layers. They just thought it sounded cool. Now, when put together, they're going to sound like this. Not that bad. However, if we hear the quantized version of it, where we pretty much have the tambourine loop being synced up to the swing of the bass, which means that even the open hat will be swinged, and you can see they're hitting a little earlier than most, but now they're going to be in conjunction with each other. Notice how there's a little bit of a change, like example A on the left side makes you want to, and example B doesn't really make you want to dance. This is stuff that happens in a micro level, but once you put it to a huge amount of drum loops, which I know a lot of you guys, okay? You guys are literally drum loop millionaires in a sense in some of these tracks where you stack like multiple drum loops. Evil sounds always on top of Timatics. That's the way it should be. Why does this actually sound good too? My fucking ears. Okay, so knowing that, how can we fix it? Well, first off, let me say thank you so much to the artists that come to the In the Dojo series me and Soul run. Essentially, the artists come on and they show us how they did their track, and they accept questions from us, production related, of course. And this trick was learned from one of those episodes. So make sure to check them out. They're a gold mine filled with these kind of sounds, and you can see how your favorite tech house artists do it as well. Okay, so this is how we would execute the technique. First off, obviously, a lot of you guys are going to be running bass lines in your respective tracks. They might be a psytrance bass, but if you're doing any kind of track with a very groovy bass, and that bass is going to have a bit of swing, then you're going to have to pretty much extract the groove from it. Now, the way you're going to do that is pretty much you're going to have essentially your full out bass. You can Command J to consolidate it together if you have it bounced and cut up. You can see there is a bit of swing to the bass that SSOL and Viper have decided to use. Here we have this sort of gap that is occurring with this bass. So there is a bit of swing happening. And as we move more to the right, we're going to be able to pick up on some. Now, the thing I want to do is I want to right click on this and I'm going to click extract grooves. And what this is going to do is it's pretty much going to go process. Now, once it's done pretty much doing its thing, then you can go over here to the left of Ableton, click that, and you're going to notice that we have essentially the groove now being put here. So this is the original groove that SSOL decided to go with, that he extracted from the bass. And here's the new one that we've created. Now, the cool thing about this is that you're going to have your drum loops obviously at the bottom here. Let's go with one of the ones that wasn't quantized. And then from there, when you click groove, now you're going to have access to your body high bass or your body high bass, whichever you want to go with. From there, you can put it on. Now from here, you're really not going to see what's really happening with it, but it's safe to say that we can kind of zoom in and see, okay, this is how it looks. But from there, we can commit it. So now you can see there is a bit of shift going. And if you notice, this main half beat mark here is getting shifted to the left. Now that's going to be due to the fact that, again, Ableton saw that the groove of that bass was swung in a way, and it's pretty much applying that swing to some of our elements here, as you can see. Now the important thing is to recognize how the shaker sounds like with the bass. So for instance, right now, nothing's happening, by the way. We're going to turn warp off. Now, if we turn it on and apply the body high bass, turn it on. Now, if you get anything out of this video, it's the fact that you want to be aware that different drum loops will have different swings to them, and you got to make sure to prepare for that in your track. So if you ever felt like your track never felt groovy enough, this might be one of the problems that occurs. Now, I want to show you guys a different example and a different way of doing this as well. For example, in this track, the reason we're showing it is because the bass was never swung. It was created with a mouse, and pretty much it's going to be a little tad bit boring. So me being the Mexican producer, I was like, I ain't got no groove, so we're going to use swing 16/52 in order to give it a bit of a swing. So with that, it's going to sound like this.
It's your destiny.
Okay, now, of course, here we can see in the drums, there's going to be drums from different companies. I feel a little promiscuous for some reason. But we're going to have Vengeance. We're going to have UK House, which is probably Sample Magic. And then we're going to have Tool Room Academy. Now, what I've done for the tutorial is I've unsicked this shaker loop. And if you heard the track, it probably bothered you a little bit. But this one, don't worry, it's going to be quantized. Now, again, since I decided to go with that 1/16 swing on the bass, here's a question for you guys there that are pros on YouTube, because there's a lot of pros on YouTube for some reason. Is it okay to have different swing parameters for different drum loops? Is that okay with you, or do you think they all need to have the same? Make sure to let me know down below, even if you're cool, you know, just tell me your opinion on that. But for me, I felt like, you know what, it sounded a lot better when that swing was being applied to all of the drum loops. Now, how do you execute this properly? That is the question. This is the way we do it. Number one, where let's say the shaker loop is our target here, we're going to highlight it all. And then we're going to hit Command U. Okay, now we're going to do it one more time. Command U, and that should quantize it to the 1/16. Again, if you don't know if it is, just go here, quantize settings, and then from there 1/16, and you apply. Once it's quantized and it's on the grid, which is a tad bit boring for sure, now we can apply the 16/52 groove. Now, again, all of these drums are going to be quantized, and then they're going to contain that 16. Of course, make sure to pay attention to make sure that when it quantizes, it's doing it properly, aka landing where it needs to, okay? But from there, once it's applied, this is how it's going to sound like. Now, if you need a reminder on how nasty it sounded, again, here it is. I like the song says, trust in me, believe in me. However, if you're the type of person that needs to pay for a masterclass to believe the information being presented, we did interview the duo Truth X Lies Aura on In the Dojo, where they break down their track called Understand. It has over 400,000 streams on Spotify, which is great for a tech house track. And again, if you don't believe me, maybe you'll believe them.
Make you dance.
All right, ninjas, or should I say drum loop millionaires. If you get anything from this video, again in review, number one, every drum loop you utilize might have its own swing, so it's up to you to quantize them and then apply a new swing so that your drums are in sync together. Number two, let's assume that you have a bass line that has no swing, and if you're going to use a swing on it, consider putting the same swing on your drums as well so that everything flows and works well in the track. And finally, number three, if you feel like you hear your track and you did everything right, but your track still feels like you don't want to bob your head to it, it's either one, the mix, or it's either again conflicting rhythms, so make sure to be on top of that. Other than that, guys, if you want to support the channel, again, evilsounds.com. I need to feed my kids, I need to feed my wife. You guys support this channel and help me keep growing. And if you want to check out some dope stuff, check out the In the Dojo series. And again, one last thank you to Soul and Viper for allowing me to use their track in this example as well as thank you Sen, yes, hello, putting my track up there. Other than that, you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys next time for another video. Much love, peace out, you take care, and sayonara.
I'm the best kind.